or not. This is the only way to show our faith and our love toward our Creator, isn't it? But go ahead and read, brother.
Judges chapter 2, verse 23. Therefore Yahweh left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua. Now these are the nations which Yahweh left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan. Only that generations of the children of Israel might know, to teach them war, at the least such as before knew nothing thereof. Namely, 5 lords of the Philistines, and of all the Canaanites, and the Sidonians, and the Hivites that dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal-Hermon unto the entering in of Hamath. And they were to prove Israel by them, to know whether they would hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh, which he commanded their fathers by the hand of Moshe. And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites, and Amorites, and Perizzites, and Hivites, and Jebusites. And they took their daughters to be their wives, and gave their daughters to their sons, and served their gods. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and forgot Yahweh their Elohim, and served Baalim and the groves. Therefore the anger of Yahweh was hot against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of Cushan Rishathaim, king of Mesopotamia, and the children of Israel served Cushan Rishathaim 8 years.
And here today, we've been serving this nation here for almost 400 years, and we've learned not only to serve their gods, but we've also learned to serve the gods of the other nations. We've become Muslims, Hare Krishnas, you name it, and Jake has become a part of that simply because we live among the nation, and we like to be like Mike. Now, these Hamites knew that their images were not their creator, because the people created the idols and the rituals that they did themselves. Even today, Christians don't worship their Christmas tree or Peter Rabbit. And they have used Samhain's Day, Halloween, for fun, honoring their dearly departed loved ones, and many other man-made reasons man do these things. Yet, these traditional men have our people immersed in these pagan things, not understanding what their true meaning is all about. These things represent sensual, carnal, and immoral aspects of human nature when we consider their origin. So due to the religions of the nations, the people have become thorns in our sides, and the liberties granted them by their God has become a snare unto the tribes of Israel that's here in America. Today, many people follow their deity with words and through emotions, but not with the heart. But talk is cheap. What Yahweh Elohim wants is for our conduct to back up our words, and that we glorify him at all times. Being in the flesh, many times we don't understand Yahweh's perspective of things. So when we err, we must drink of the cup of his judgment, even the dredge of the cup of wrath, to make our chastisement complete. The chastisement is for to clean us up. So when we overcome our faults, our minds are exercised in discerning Yahweh's will as we face the wrath of our adversaries. Many times, we just fail to drive sin from our lives, either because we know what is expected and don't perform righteously, or because our flesh has deceived us. But what this brings is a gradual deterioration of one's relationship with Yahshua. Yet, we all get tired and want to rest sometime. But we need more than a break from our labors. We need to know that Yahshua loves us and have given us a purpose in this life. Yet victory only comes when we live according to his purpose. 1 Samuel 8 in verse 1 through verse 22. 1 Samuel 8 in verse 1 through verse 22.
Yeah, Elder, a lot of Christians will say they don't worship the tree, right? But they don't know that the things that the dead does, it says, other nations forgot their gods. So, in other words, they didn't justify the wicked as we don't know in research. They know these things, but yet they do it. Then you justify the wicked, both you and them because abomination. Of course. Others say, you don't know to do good and do it not. You do the name of Christ.
If you've been coming to NCCI any length of time, you know what's right and you know what's wrong. Ain't no doubt about it. A lot of times what we do is we find a ransom for us to do wrong, but that doesn't mean that it still isn't wrong. Yahweh meant everything he said. In regards to how we try to twist things and change things, Yahweh still meant exactly what he said. And us being in this captivity shows us that Yahweh told Abraham long before Israel became a nation of people that we would be in captivity 400 years. Why? Because of the atrocities that our people would commit against God. And y'all know, y'all have seen things that has gone down in this congregation to know that what man's fear of Yahweh has been truly taught to us by the precept of men. 1 Samuel chapter 8 in verse 1 through verse 22, brother.
And it came to pass, when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba.
Now, and you know what? Samuel knew that them brothers wasn't nothing but a bunch of thugs. He knew it. But what did he do? He done got old, so he ended up making them hoodlums judges in Israel. And when you read the story and see some of the things them boys did, man, something had to be done about them boys. Them boys was nuts. But go ahead and read, man.
Verse 3. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre and took bribes and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, you are old, and your sons walk not in your ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto Yahweh.
Right. The people didn't realize that Yahweh Elohim was their king. But go ahead, they wanted a natural man because that's what they can see all the other nations had. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 7. And Yahweh said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto you. For they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto you. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of Yahweh unto the people that asked him of a king. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He shall take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards, and give them to his officers and to his servants.
Now they already had a 10% to give to the Levites. Now they're going to have a 10% to give to the king. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 16. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants, and your goodliest young men and your asses, and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and you shall be his servants. And you shall cry out in that day because of your king, which you have chosen you. And Yahweh will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, no, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Samuel, hearken to their voice and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go you every man unto his city.
Right. Then we know what happened after that. Yahweh took Saul and made him a king, and we know what he was a Benjamite, and we know what Saul did. Saul lived like he wanted to live. Saul didn't care nothing about Yahweh. Saul didn't care nothing about the people. Saul only cared about himself. And when a young man came up that he saw was industrious and studious and had a lot of moxie about himself, what did he do? He wanted to kill David simply because he knew that David was going to be the next king. But let's go into 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 1 through 11 and verse 23. Let's pick up some things that happen in there. 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 1 through chapter 11 and verse 23.
Verse 1. And when the queen of South Yemen heard of the fame of Shlomo concerning the name of Yahweh, she came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels that bear spices and very much gold and precious stones. And when she was come to Shlomo, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Shlomo told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not. And when the queen of South Yemen had seen all Shlomo's wisdom, and the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and his ascent, by which he went up unto the house of Yahweh, there was no more breath in her.
Now, you're going to get some brothers that call themselves Rastafarians. What they're going to say, because it says here in verse 5, there was no more spirit left in her. What they try to say is that she came up to Jerusalem to have sex with Solomon, and she conceived a child and went back, and she bare a child whose name was Menelik, and out of Menelik came Rastafari, and out of Rastafari came Haile Selassie, and out of them came all the Rastafarians, and this is how they tried to make a claim to the throne of the house of Judah. This is why they called Selassie the Lion of Judah. But we know that he was born in the wrong time to be the Lion of Judah, and we know also that he would not have ruled in Ethiopia as he did. But when we read it, what we see is that what she came up for, she had heard of Solomon's fame and how he served his God, and she had come up to prove him with hard questions. And after he had answered all her questions and showed her, and she saw all of this pomp and circumstance and all the wealth and so forth, it was no more spirit in it. She already knew what the deal was, so she was satisfied. Then she went on and gave him all of the gold, the platinum and different stuff that she gave him. But what you do now, brothers try to say the Queen of Sheba came out of Africa because Cush had a son named Sheba. But when you check the mode of transportation she used in chapter 2, she used camels. Africans don't use camels. That's number one. The almug trees that she brought up, they don't grow in Africa. They grow in the Middle East. And she brought unto him gold of Ophir, which is platinum, which is still mined in South Yemen today. But, go ahead and read, brother.
1 Kings chapter 10, verse 6. And she said to the king, it was a true report that I heard in mine own land of your acts and of your wisdom. Howbeit I believed not the words until I came, and mine eyes have seen it. And behold, the half was not told me. Your wisdom and prosperity exceed the fame which I heard. Happy are your men, happy are these your servants, which stand continually before you and that hear your wisdom. Blessed be Yahweh your Elohim, which delighted in you to set you on the throne of Israel. Because Yahweh loved Israel forever, therefore made he you king to do judgment and justice.
Well, if she knew all of this, then naturally she didn't want to try to have sex with him. If he was going to, and she knew that he served the God of Israel, she knew who he was, and she knew that Solomon was set on the throne to do what? To do judgment and justice. So why should she try to make him to fall? As many wives and concubines as Solomon had, brother, what he needed with another woman? Yeah, they the one causing him all these problems. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 10. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold and of spices, very, very great store, and precious stones. There came no more such abundance of spices as these which the king of South Yemen gave to King Shlomo.
Now, a talent of gold back in those days was worth $29,000. Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 11. And the navy also of Hiram that brought gold from Ophir brought in from Ophir great plenty of almug trees and precious stones. And the king made of the almug trees pillars for the house of Yahweh, and for the king's house harps also and psalteries for singers. There came no such almug trees, nor were seen unto this day. And King Shlomo gave unto the queen of South Yemen all her desire, whatsoever she asked, beside that which Shlomo gave her of his royal bounty. So she turned and went to her own country, she and her servants. Now the weight of gold that came to Shlomo in 1 year was 636 talents of gold. Beside that he had of the merchantmen and of the traffic of the spice merchants and of all the kings of Arabia and of the governors of the country. And King Shlomo made 200 targets of beaten gold, 600 shekels of gold went to one target. And he made 300 shields of beaten gold, 3 pounds of gold went to one shield, and the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with the best gold. The throne had six steps, and the top of the throne was round behind, and there were stays on either side on the place of the seat, and the 2 lions stood beside the stays. And 12 lions stood there on the one side and on the other upon the 6 steps, and there was not the like made in any kingdom. And all King Shlomo's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Shlomo. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Shlomo exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom.
Okay, my brother, I don't want to go no further than that. Now let's go and see some things that Shlomo got off into that was against, that caused him some serious problems. Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 14 through verse 20. Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 4 through verse 20.
Elder, what is the significance of this forest of Lebanon? What was that? Maybe a temple was located there?
And there was a house there. It's where Slow-Mo kept his chariots and things. That right?
Famous for cedar wood that they brought in to build the temple.
Yeah, but that's what. Yeah, but that's where they built his stables at, wasn't it? I think that's where they built his stables at, and so forth. Where he had his chariots and horses, and that's where he had some of the shields, the lighter shields, that was made of gold, and people carried around. But the heavier shields, that was 3 pounds of gold each. Those were the ones that they put in in the house in Lebanon. It was where he kept horses. And but let's go see what Solomon had got off into, and maybe that'll help a little bit. Deuteronomy chapter 17, and pick that up at verse 14, my brother.
Yes, sir. And it be told you, and you have heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold.
Wait a minute. Okay, pick that up. Where I told you to pick that up? Pick it up at verse 14.
Verse 4?
Verse 14.
Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 14. When you are coming to the land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like all the nations that are about me. You shall in any wise set him king over you, whom Yahweh your Elohim shall choose. One from among your brethren shall you set king over you. You may not set a king over you, which is not your brother.
So we shouldn't vote then, right? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as Yahweh hath said unto you, you shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sits upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book, out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear Yahweh his Elohim, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel.
Praise Yah. Now we know when we read the story that Slow-Mo violated all these things. Slow-Mo was the wisest man that had ever lived, and his wisdom and his wives caused him to to pervert himself before the God of Israel. Regardless to how, what this shows us is regardless to how we order or live our lives, rather, Yahweh is ruler of heaven and earth, and humans have only temporal power to be what they want to be. Understanding that the fleshly mind is ever changing and ever centered on self-gratitude, how is it possible to please Yahweh Elohim and live according to the flesh in this present world? The more luxurious Slow-Mo's court became, the more our people were taxed, and excessive taxes caused civil unrest, making the nation ripe for a revolt. So with everything he wanted within his grasp, Slow-Mo soon neglected Yahweh Elohim's law and allowed pagan influences to enter into his courts through his pagan wives. And this only provoked the spirit of corruption in Israel. Let's go and read Psalms chapter 38 and verse 1 through chapter 39 and verse 13. Psalms chapter 38 and verse 1 through 39 and verse 13. And what these things show us is Yahweh don't change his mind about what he does. And he does things the same way over and over and over again. So make sure that you go ahead and read the rest of this story and see what happened with Solomon, and that may give us some insight on some of the things that we need to be about. Because, like I said, Yahweh don't change. We get off into a whole lot of paganism, but Yahweh always sends somebody to deliver us simply because of the covenants that He's made with our fathers, and none of His words is going to fall to the ground. Psalms chapter 38, verse 1 through chapter 39 and verse 13.
O Yahweh, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thy hand presses me sore. There is no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. For mine iniquities are gone over mine head, as a heavy burden they are too heavy for me.
Now, what I want you to do is I want you to read this. We're going to read this and understand, try to understand what David was trying to do. David knew that he was a wicked, sinful man. He knew that. But then as you keep on reading and get further and further and further in the psalm, you begin to read where David had changed. And he said, prove me, try me, test me, and see if you find any fault in me. You see, so the brother had cleaned up his act because of his love for his creator and his people, and because Yahweh had already given him the power to clean up his act. You can't clean up unless the Spirit give you power. And the only way the Spirit is going to give you power to do that is that it's directly in your heart that you are going to do what you're supposed to do. Go ahead and read, brother.
Psalms 38, verse 5. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. I am troubled, I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long. For my loins are filled with a loathsome disease, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart. Adonai, all my desire is before you, and my groaning is not hid from you. My heart panteth, my strength fails me. As for the light of mine eyes, it also is gone from me. My lovers and my friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen stand afar. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. But I, as a deaf man, heard not, and I was as a dumb man that opened not his mouth. Thus I was as a man that hears not, and in whose mouth are no reproof. For in thee, O Yahweh, do I hope, you will hear, O Adonai, my Elohim. For I said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me. When my foot slips, they magnify themselves against me.
See, he done fail. See, he fell like they never fail. Okay, but go ahead and read, brother. But see, people fall, and what they do is they want you to forgive them, but then when you fall, they don't want to forgive you. You see, what righteousness is there in that? All of us is going to sin and come short of Yahweh's glory, but that doesn't give us the right not to keep holy conventions. There's nothing written in the scripture to tell you that you shouldn't keep a holy convention where Yahweh chooses to put his name, except for uncleanness. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 17. For I am ready to halt, and my sorrow is continually before me. For I will declare mine iniquity, I will be sorry for my sin.
Why? Because I'm ready to halt. I'm ready to stop these things. And my sorrow now is continually before me. For I will declare mine iniquity. In other words, I will confess and I will repent. I will be sorry for my sin. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 19. But mine enemies are lively and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. They also that render evil for good are mine adversaries, but I follow the thing that good is. Forsake me not, O Yahweh. O my Elohim, be not far from me. Make haste to help me, O Adonai, my salvation.
And you know what? Yahweh really, really listened to David because he loved David. Regardless of what David did, he loved David. He said, I find David, the son of Seth, a man after my own heart. His thing was, not only did he love God, but he also loved and wanted the best for Israel, didn't he? Okay, go ahead and read, brother. But people would say, man, all the things that David did, if it would have been us, if he would have been in this congregation, we'd throw him out in the streets. Y'all know it, don't you? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Psalms 39, verse 1. I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my mouth. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me. I was done with silence. I held my peace, even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. My heart was hot within me while I was mused in the fire burn. Then spake I with my tongue, Yahweh, make me to know mine end, and the measure of my days, what it is, that I may know how frail I am. Behold, you have made my days as an handbreadth, and mine ages as nothing before you. Yes, every man at his best estate is altogether vanity.
Every man at his best estate is altogether vanity, but we find fault with each other, don't we? Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 6. Surely every man walks in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain. He heaps up riches and knows not who shall gather them. And now, Adonai, what wait I for? My hope is in you. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. I was dumb. I opened not my mouth because you did it. Remove your stroke away from me. I am consumed by the blow of your hand. When you with rebukes do correct man for iniquity, you make his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity. Hear my prayer, O Yahweh, and give ear unto my cry. Hold not your peace at my tears, for I am a stranger with you, and a sojourner as all my fathers were. Oh, spare me, that I may recover strength before I go hence, and be no more.
Praise Yah. Yahweh knows our strength and weaknesses, and his commands are always for our good. So when we ignore his word, negative consequences are the inevitable results. Because Yahweh Elohim is the God of righteous justice. It's not enough to just know his word or even to believe it. We must follow his words and apply them to our daily activities, taking his word and his presence seriously. Like Shlomo, the wisest and richest man who had ever lived, we are not as strong as we like to think of ourselves as being. But regardless to our knowledge, faith, and works, we all have weak spots. And this is where temptation lurks continuously. So we must protect and strengthen our weaker assets, because a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So because we choose to identify with and please our associates and loved ones, we are told not to fellowship with those who don't share our interests of righteousness or our commitment to Yahweh our Elohim. Psalms chapter 37 and verse 1 through verse 40. Psalms chapter 37 and verse 1 through verse 40.
Verse 1. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb.
Right, because they're not steadfast. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 3. Trust in Yahweh, and do good, so shall you dwell in the land, and yes, you shall be fed. Delight yourself also in Yahweh, and he shall give you the desires of your heart.
Don't take that out of context. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 5.
And be careful, like I keep saying, be careful what you ask for. See, because you might ask for it and get it, and it become a curse and a vexation to you. Go ahead and read.
I know by experience, brother. I know. You know.
All of us know, brother. All of us know. All of us have experienced some things that Yahweh has given us, that we claim rather that Yahweh has given us, and then turn around and say, I prayed to Yahweh for an angel, for something for an angel, and look what the devil gave me. Right. Right. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 5. Commit your way unto Yahweh, trust also in Yahweh, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth your righteousness as the light, and your judgment as the noon.
And all we got to do is to trust in him. All we got to do is trust in him and have faith that we are on the road to, towards salvation, and he's going to bring about our righteousness to light, because we ain't going to do it. See, you know why? This here. See, we love this here. We love what we think. We love what we feel. We care about what that nigga over there feel. We care about what them folks over there feel, them Arabs over there feel. We are so concerned about people's perception of us. We ain't gonna do it. Know what we gonna do? We're gonna succumb to what people like. You know why? We want to be loved. But see, all we got to do is do what we're supposed to do. Try to walk humbly and justly before your Elohim. Try to keep his holy day. Try to do the things that were said, and he's going to give you strength. When you fall down, he's going to lift you up. You know why? Your mind is still stayed upon him. Okay. Go ahead and read, brother. But you got to be steadfast. You can't just say, well, I know what I'm going to do. I just ain't going to believe no more. You can't do that. What you got to do is this. You got to put your nose to the grindstone. You got to, when the rubber hits the road, you got to be the rubber on the road. Go ahead and read, brother.
Psalms 37, verse 7. Rest in Yahweh and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who brings wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself in any wise to do evil. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon Yahweh, they shall inherit the earth.
Praise Yah.
For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yes, you shall diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace.
And who wants to be meek? None of us want to walk around and act like we meek. You know why? When you do, folks take gross advantage of you. See, all you got to do is walk around. I see a lot of things to go on. I hear a lot of things, but I keep my mouth shut. You know why? I don't want to provoke nobody to anger where they'll do more than they're doing and then end up having to get out of here. You know why? Because they got to obtain salvation just like you got to obtain salvation. The only time y'all see me raised in the sand is when somebody bring their thoughts and their ideas and their interpretations in here in this congregation. Then I jump up and down. But other than that, whatever come up in my personal life, I say, oh, well, there it is. Go on about my business. But go ahead and read, brother.
Psalms 37, verse 12. The wicked plots against the just, and gnashes upon him with his teeth. The Adonai shall laugh at him, for he sees that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken.
Praise Yah.
A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but Yahweh upholds the righteous. Yahweh knows the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, And the enemies of Yahweh shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borrows and pays not again, but the righteous shows mercy and gives.
Nah, don't take that out of context. I know I owe you some money. You'll get it when I get some money. Okay? Okay. Okay. Because I know how you brood, brother. I mean, like I told you, I've been knowing you since you was this high in the word.
Yeah, but I was a child then. I'm trying to grow into a man.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. I get it back to you soon as Yahweh give it to me, brother. Okay. Go ahead and read.
Verse 22. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by Yahweh, and he delights in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for Yahweh upholds him with his hand.
Now, verse 23 says, the steps of a good man are ordered by Yahweh, and he delights in his ways. Though he fall, he shall not utterly be cast down, for Yahweh upholds him with his hand. But see, when we get to people say, man, you ain't even fit to stand behind that altar. You ain't even fit to go into the house of Yahshua, you see. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 25. I have been young, and now am old. Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread.
Praise Yah.
He is ever merciful and lends, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil, and do good, and dwell forevermore. For Yahweh loves judgment, and forsakes not his saints. They are preserved forever. But the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom, and his tongue talks of judgment. The law of his Elohim is in his heart, none of his steps shall slide.
Praise Yah.
The wicked watches the righteous and seeks to slay him. Yahweh will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged.
Praise Yah, but man will. The wicked's going to watch you. And the first time they see you make an error or fall, look here, your name is mud. But verse 33 said, Yahweh will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Yeah, go ahead and read, brother. See, people look at themselves, but what they do is this. They underestimate Yahweh. See, people think Yahweh is altogether like we are. Yeah, okay. Go ahead and read, brother.
Psalms 37, verse 34. Wait on Yahweh and keep his way, and he shall exalt you to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, you shall see it. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yes, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright. For the end of that man is peace.
Praise Yah.
But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of Yahweh. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And Yahweh shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them, because they trust in him.
Praise Yah. Now, people are not necessarily condemned for what they don't know, but for what man does with what he does know. Man knows right from wrong, yet greed and pride has caused man not to keep even the very principles of constitutions made by his fathers, or rules of law and ideas dictated by the wise men of Luciferian societies, men who decreed, constituted their slaves as 3/5 of a human being. Psalms chapter 36 in verse 1 through verse 4.
You know, Elder, I was sharing with my Yeshua how I was so grateful that Yahweh has reserved this awesome and great power unto himself, because had he given it to man, I was just thinking about how Rosa Parks had been dead over a week, and they were still trying to look like do everything but bring her back to life, you know. And if man had that kind of power, many so-called great men and men of renown would never die.
Man is not given power that man will command during the reign of Christ, brother, simply because being flesh and blood, we don't know how to deal with it. You know why? We got to understand one thing. We were raised, like I said, we were raised up by the adversary, the devil, all these years. Then for a few years, we come to a congregation and hear a few things and think we know something. Then pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit goes before a fall. First, when you think you know something, you're going to get haughty, right? And then when you get haughty, you're going to separate yourselves. And then once you separate yourself, pride goes before your fall. And it's happened all down through the years. You can go back into Genesis and read from the Genesis on down, and you'll find out that it's always been true. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit goes before a fall. And that's man's problem. Man's spirit is too haughty, and he don't have Yahweh's interest in heart. He got his own damn interest in heart, and that's what makes man. That's what destroys man. Not thinking of what Yahweh is doing, but thinking of what man himself is doing. Like, who the hell is man? Like the son, David said, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the son of man that you visited him? Because you made him a little lower than angels, but you crown him with glory and honor. Right? So because of these things, man thinks that he's something. And if man don't watch himself, brother, he'll end up thinking he is the power of God. That means he's going to do what he wants to do instead of what's written in this book. But go ahead and read, Steve.
Stuff they coming up with, ain't it?
You ain't seen nothing yet, bro. You ain't seen nothing. This is just tip of the iceberg. You haven't seen anything. Just wait. Just wait. We only got a few more years, so just wait. This thing is going down fast. Just wait. Go ahead and read, man.
Psalms 36, verse 1. The transgression of the wicked says within my heart that there is no fear of Elohim before his eyes.
Right. I don't fear Elohim and I don't fear man. I'm going to do what I want to do. This is my life. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 2. For he flatters himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He have left off to be wise and to do good. He devises mischief upon his bed. He sets himself in a way that is not good. He abhors not evil.
Okay, my brother, let's go and see why he does these things. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 16 through verse 21. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 16 through verse 21. Yeah. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 16 through verse 21.
Verse 16. The cup of blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of the Mashiach? The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of the Mashiach? For we being many are one bread and one body, for we are all partakers of that one bread. Behold, Israel after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? But I say that the things which the Euro-Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to Elohim. And I would not that you should have fellowship with devils. You cannot drink the cup of the Adonai and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Adonai's table and of the table of devils.
Okay, my brother, now let's go and see what Timothy had to say about this. 1 Timothy chapter 6, in verse 10 through verse 21. Man, where's Timothy?
Right behind Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, in front of 2 Thessalonians.
Yeah, I got it. 1 Timothy, chapter 6, in verse 10 through verse 21.
Verse 10. Well, how far was I supposed to read?
Verse
10.
21.
Okay. Verse 10. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows.
And we know that the churches of today is about nothing but money. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 11. But you, O man of Israel, flee these things and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, whereunto you are also called, and have professed a good profession before many witnesses. I give you charge in the sight of Elohim, who quickens all things, and before the Mashiach Yahshua, who before Pontius Pilate witnessed a good confession, that you keep this commandment without spot, unrebukable, unto the appearing of our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, which in his times he shall show who is the blessed and only potentate, King of kings and Adonai of lords, who only have immortality, dwelling in the light which no man can approach unto, whom no man have seen nor can see, to whom be honor and power everlasting. Amen. Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living Elohim, who gives us richly all things to enjoy, that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to your trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning the faith. Grace be with you. Amen.
Amen. Now, today, because of worldly wisdom, Lucifer has shown his servants the blueprint of the genetic code, stem cell research to the creation of life itself, how to grow live human parts on the back of animals, the methods of cloning flesh and plants through science and pharmacology. And many years ago, they gave my generation immunization shots, which poison our immune cells, causing them to sickle. World scientists believe in evolution, which Christians teach in their schools. So why should a man believe in a creator when man himself is healing the sick, giving sight to the blind, and cloning human beings? Because of man's determination to defy Yahweh Elohim, who created all things, man's religions and technologies that's given them by their father, the prince of darkness, these are the things that cause sin, fear, war, destruction, and death has become, and it has made death a very, very big profit upon this earth. Revelations 18, and Brother Steve, read verse 1 through verse 8. Revelation 18 and verse 1 through verse 8. Let's see what Yahweh plan on doing about some of these things and find out where man is headed. See, all Yahweh got to do is give man up to himself, and he'll go stark raving mad.
You see, the latest thing they're trying to do now, they're trying to get some kind of deal with one of the telephone company providers that they can if you're in your vehicle and use your telephone, they can monitor your speed and claim they just wanted information to help you to go around heavily congested area. But we know they're going to use it to our disadvantage.
Of course, it's to make money. Anything they come out with, brother, is for profit. They don't do nothing for nothing. They don't give up nothing. Anything is for profit. And when you look at the profits, and to show you that, to show you what our governmental system is all about, look at the profits that the oil companies has made since Katrina.
They say they're happy with the profit.
Look at the profits they made since Katrina. Yet, but who's paying the freight for this? The consumer. You see, something gonna have to be done, brother. It's because of her cost. Let's go ahead and read it. Revelation chapter 18, and pick this up at verse 1.
Yes, sir. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
We know that America is the melting pot for religion. This is the only country on the world you can go and worship a dog right out there in the middle of the street. As long as you don't obstruct traffic, you ain't gonna have no problem. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth all waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heavens, and Yah have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she have rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which ye have filled, fill to her double. How much she have glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she says in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Adonai Elohim who judges.
Okay, let's go and see what Brother Isaiah had to say about these things. Isaiah chapter 18, verse 1 through verse 7. Isaiah chapter 18, verse 1 through verse 7.
And speaking about, like that thing, what is that OnStar system they have in the automobile? They're talking about it's for your own safety. And
It's a
everything.
tracking device.
Tracking device. But if you get behind those car payments, they shut that automobile down. Right?
Yes, sir.
And come get it.
Yes, sir. Right where they shut it down at.
Come get it.
Right where they shut it down at. If you call a tow truck driver to pick it up to tow it somewhere, they got that tracking device on it.
Right.
Yeah, these crackers ain't gonna lose nothing, man. Yeah, you can believe that. They gonna get blood from this turnip. You can believe that. Yeah.
I also saw a program on one of those science channels on TV. They did a report on the CIA using the computers, especially the computers that's in your home, that has this camera that you can hook up to it. They can program the computer to spy on you in your own house. It's already been done.
Back in 1975, they programmed TVs with cameras in the corners of them to spy on you in your house. Yeah. You be laying up there, think you watching TV? TV watching you, John. Yeah. TV watching you. It's not all the information they get on people. They be busting drug dealers and so forth. They be busting. They're not getting tips from other people. A lot of information they get, brother, because they've come in your house and spied on you through your TV set, and especially with them cell phones, brother. Yeah. Like I said, they aren't gonna lose nothing, and they're gonna know where every citizen is. This is why they make you get a Social Security number. And they'll track you from birth to the grave through your Social Security number. When I came up, you had to go to the post office and fill out a form. After you got old enough, you had to go to the post office and fill out a form to get a Social Security number. But before that, they didn't know where you were and what you was doing. But then, when they started, when a child was born, issue them a Social Security number. That way they can follow you all your life, wherever you go, brother, because wherever you work at, they're going to insist that you give them that Social Security number. Yeah, don't think that master sleeping on the job because we got a little freedom and a little education. That little bit of, once we got a little education, we see where master's education went, don't it? Went out the roof, and we still trying to catch up with this technology, aren't we? Okay.
You know, this only gives validity to the fact that with all this technology, there's nowhere in the world they could not have known when those airplanes hit those towers.
Isaiah 18. Pick that up at verse 1. I'm gonna leave George Bush alone, boy. That dude is a gunslinger. You notice how he walk? Yeah, that dude might have something done to you. Yeah. Isaiah chapter 18, and pick that up at verse 1, my brother.
Yes, sir. Woe to the land shadowing with wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, that sent ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of bulrushes upon the waters, saying, Go, you swift messengers, to a nation scattered in Peel, to a people terrible from their beginning hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden down, whose land the rivers have spoiled.
Now we know this is when they start going over to Africa by the Hebrews, right?
Right.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 3. All you inhabitants of the world and dwellers on the earth, see you when he lift up an ensign on the mountains, and when he blows a trumpet, hear you. For so said Yahweh unto me, I will take my rest, and I will consider in my dwelling place like a clear heat upon herbs, and like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest. For the harvest, when the bud is perfect, and the sour grape is ripening in the flower, he shall both cut off the sprigs with the pruning hooks, and take away and cut down the branches.
Before the harvest of Israel, when the bud is perfect, and that sour grape is ripening in the flower, he shall both cut off the sprigs with pruning hooks, and take away and cut down the branches, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 6. They shall be left together unto the fowls of the mountains, and to the beasts of the earth. And the fowls shall summer upon them, and all the beasts of the earth shall winter upon them. In that time shall the present be brought unto Yahweh of hosts, of a people scattered in Peel, and from a people terrible from their beginning hitherto, a nation meted out and trodden underfoot, whose lands the rivers have spoiled, to the place of the name of Yahweh of hosts, the Mount Sion.
Like Yahweh said, he's going to save the Jews, the house of Judah first, that dwells in the daughter of Babylon. And just before Babylon, the daughter of Babylon falls, we know that from what we are told by the prophets, that Yahweh is going to get his people up out of here into the place of safety. Now, this year, on worldwide media, this whore removed Yahweh's holy words spoken to our fathers from their judicial system. And she told all the powers of the earth that she reigns and make her own rules and regulations. But our troubles have already began, Israel, because neither Yahweh or his children are being spoken of in truth in too many places upon this earth. But let's go into Psalms 83 and read verse 1 through verse 12.
Yeah, brother, speaking of Bush, and man, 911, that whole administration, man, is covered with scandal.
We know that, brother.
The Nixon and Reagan didn't do nothing compared to this.
We know that, brother. And then they're going to tell me about what Slick Willie did. That's
So we're going to be at the vote poll, though, right?
Of course.
Next election.
Of
Y'all
course,
up in there, huh?
brother. Of course, brother. We're going to elect another Republican. What difference does it make to you?
I know that's right.
America is going to be destroyed. Regardless of whose hands it's under, Asia is going to destroy America. She's trying to do it now economically. You see how China and those countries over there are counterfeiting all of the products and everything that's coming up and flooding the markets with stuff, she's already in the process of being destroyed.
And everybody got our printing place, right?
Of
We
course.
print our money all over the world, right?
Well, they gave Iran a printing press back when Eisenhower was president, when the Shah of Iran was laying in bed with this Christian daughter over here. Psalms chapter 83 in verse 1 through verse 12. Yeah.
No more American money. No more. That's it.
He gonna have to sell that sugar somewhere.
Cigars.
He gonna have to sell that sugar somewhere. And when Kofi Annan say we ain't getting nothing else from Cuba, ain't nothing else coming out of Cuba. Regardless to what Fidel Castro say, he don't run nothing but his mouth. The country, we got a good example of that back when John F. Kennedy was president. They moved those missiles down there in Cuba, and what did Kennedy say? Huh? He said, if you don't move the missiles out there, we gonna found Russia, the mother country. Didn't they move them up and down there? Castro ain't doing it but running his mouth, sweetheart. His country is too little. You saw what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, don't you? Okay. And with these Gentiles dealing with experiment with controlling the weather, Cuba be underwater. We all know what the deal is there.
You got 55 Chevrolets, ain't you?
Yeah. Hey, brother, look here.
Oh, they checked out.
They got who they want though. So
He said he's a Christian, but he just can't be a Christian when he deal with his country. He has to be a socialist. But he's a Christian, he said.
who that
Not that it
Castro?
makes a difference. Castro. Yeah.
Castro is a Roman Catholic.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, Castro is a Roman Catholic, brother. Didn't you see him when he came to the United Nations when he was here in America, bringing all them little po chickens with him? You didn't see him? Yeah, he's had his little statue of Mary hanging around his neck. Psalms 83 in verse 1 through verse 12.
Yes, sir. Keep not thy silence, O Elohim. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, and consulted against your hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Right. What did they call us? Negroes, Africans, coloreds, niggers, whatever they want to call us, whatever that fit at that time, that's what they named us. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against you. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarenes.
So he's talking about Esau. He's talking about the people in the land now, Moab. We know his brothers in there, and the Hagarenes, who are Abraham's descendants. But go ahead and through his wife Hagar. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 7. Jebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them.
Ashur is Shem. Okay. Go ahead, brother.
They have helped the children of Lot. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zebah and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Israel in possession.
You see what they said? Let's destroy Israel and take Yahweh's houses in possession for ourselves, right? Okay, now let's read chapter 74 in verse 1 through verse 10. Nobody seeks after. You know why? We are so diversified that there's no righteousness and no judgment among us as people. Don't nobody seek after us. Right. And then when you try to walk uprightly and try to teach people to walk uprightly because you have faults. Then they find faults, and they don't want to walk upright no more. They want to walk according to their own imagination. Yeah, but go ahead and read Psalms chapter 74 and verse 1 through verse 10, my brother.
Oh, Elohim, why have you cast us off forever? Why do your anger smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Remember your congregation, which you have purchased of old, the rod of your inheritance, which you have redeemed. This is Mount Sion, wherein you have dwelt. This Mount Sion, wherein you have dwelt. Lift up your feet unto the perpetual desolations, even all that the enemy have done wickedly in the sanctuary. Your enemies roar in the midst of your congregations. They set up their incense for signs.
Right, they roar in the midst of the congregation. Always got some junk going on, right? And what does that do? That subvert whole houses. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 5. A man was famous according as he had lifted up axes upon the thick trees. But now they break down the carved work thereof at once with axes and hammers. They have cast fire into your sanctuary. They have defiled by casting down the dwelling place of your name to the ground. They said in their hearts, let us destroy them together. They have burned up all the synagogues of Elohim in the land.
We talking about the four empires that came in there, especially with the Romans, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 9. We see not our signs. There's no more any prophet. Neither is there among us anyone that knows how long. O Elohim, how long shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme your name forever?
You finished that, brother?
1 through 10?
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Now, this movement about our destruction, our final destruction, got its legal status from the Euro-Gentile Constantine the Great and was sanctioned by the Catholic Christian Church. That consummated the vow between church and state. Then the Crusaders went around the earth conquering and to conquer. Then Lucifer gave the whore's daughter a continent where she would enslave and destroy Yahweh's holy people that was put into her hand. Sometimes what you do is just close your eyes and take an honest look at our people and the state of the world today. Then be warned that none of Yahweh's words have returned to him void. Everything he said was going to that was going to happen is truly on. If it hasn't happened, it's surely in the way of happening. But let's go and see where man is headed with these things. Revelation chapter 13 in verse 1 through verse 18. People go to church all their lives, hang out in the street all their lives, listen to folks they claim they think that has wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But you know what? The things that's written in the book of Revelation, they never really understood. They never really understood until they came here to NCCI and had these things broke down to them. Yeah. As a matter of fact, folks didn't even know nothing about the beast with the 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 crowns. They couldn't even draw, even imagine a monster. Everything folks say, man, these monsters. The book of Revelation, man, it's a scary book. Don't read that book. Revelate means to reveal. Ain't nothing scary about Revelation if your heart right. Revelation 13, and my brother picked that up at verse 1 through verse 18.
Yes, sir. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Now, according to Revelations chapter 12, In verse 3 it says, And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was to be ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And we saw that when Herod sent the people out to try to kill off the Messiah, right? And then verse 17 says, And the dragon was angry with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahshua HaMashiach. So we can very well see that these things are coming upon earth, is coming upon earth for one purpose, Lucifer, to destroy us. Revelation chapter, where you at? 13?
Verse 2.
Go ahead, my brother.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
The 4 empires that came up on the earth, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Rome fell in 476 AD, and so far 9 kings has come up to try to revive that Holy Roman Empire, which Mussolini, if you prefer Hitler, I don't have no problem with that. That was the last one, so we are waiting on the 10th head to show his 10th person to show his head up. This will be the beast. This will be the ruler of the final world empire that these Christians is sitting upon the earth even today. Go ahead and read today, brother. Read, brother.
Verse 4. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Right, so we're going to church on Sunday. We're going to keep Christmas. We're going to keep Easter. We're going to keep Halloween. We're going to keep Valentine's Day. We're going to keep New Year's. We're going to do everything these Gentiles told us to do. And then we're going to love ourselves some Gentiles. Go ahead and read, brother.
You know, I was on the job the other day, and I was talking to this young guy. He's a maintenance man, and I was talking to him. And over where I worked at, I tore the calendar off, right, the page.
Mm-hmm.
And it was their October, what they call October, and that's November. Then you got first day of November, All Hallows Eve, right?
Mm-hmm.
I showed that brother that on that calendar. Then the next day it had them second Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Her ways are movable.
Of course.
Right?
Of
Bouncing
course, brother.
things back and forth.
Of course, brother.
Day of the Dead.
She worshiped the host of heaven and the host of the earth. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Now, when people tell you, say we going up to heaven, that's blasphemy. When they teach that as a doctrine, that's blasphemy. You know why? That's not according to Yahweh's word. Like the Messiah said, no man goes to heaven except him who came down from heaven. Go ahead and read, my brother.
Verse 6. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Israel, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Well, they've been making war with us for a long time, and we know it. Look at our estate around the world. Not just here in America, but look at the things that's going on, even the riots that's going on even in France, right? And we know what took place in London when they took our people and put them in the countryside with that urban renewal thing. That's why when you look over in Europe now, you don't hardly see none of us. And we got 9 tribes over there. Okay.
9 tribes.
Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here.
Hold up, brother. Okay, start he that leadeth into captivity for me.
Yes, sir. Verse 10. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Now the beast worshiped the dragon. See? The beast worshiped Lucifer, right? But this Pope here, this last little horn, in verse 11 it said, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, but he spoke as a dragon. See? He had two horns like a lamb. He spoke for the empire, and he also spoke for the Roman Catholic Church, didn't he?
Right.
Go ahead, brother.
Verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceives them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the... Verse 14. And deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
You see what they said? All the miracles this man was able to do, right? He made fire come down out of heaven, right? Then he had power. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. These people, do y'all think that they're doing all this stem cell research and dealing with that genetic code and everything? Do y'all think that these Gentiles got all that technology and they have made them a man?
Not just mind, actually, political mind, right? Certain things.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that over there in Asia, brother. But these folks here gonna make them a man. See, when I came up, they called it Dr. Frankenstein.
The other day, and they got a motor. They said they got a motor that's no bigger than the molecule of a grain or something, and it can't be seen on the telescope. And we was saying that's how they're gonna get that implant in us. You know, in most of the people, because if you can't see it, they can do anything they want with it.
Yeah, they're going to give it to you, brother, through a hypodermic needle. And I think this is the reason, I think. Now, don't go tell nobody that's what I'm teaching. Okay. Now, what I think is that bird flu and the whole world gearing up to store vaccines and so forth to inoculate people with, that's what I think they're going to do, brother. That's when I think they're going to give it to people in those hypodermic needles. It's the next big chance they got. Now we see where Europe is headed, and we see where America is headed. So the time is right for it, brother. So people can be tracked on this earth. But go ahead and read, Steve.
Verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 60. And
his number is the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. Chapter 9 and verse 13 through verse 21. Chapter 9 and verse 13 through verse 21. Let's pick this up once the sixth angel sounds this trumpet.
verse 13. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before Elohim, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire, and smoke, and brimstone. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men, which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their theft.
Chapter 16 and verse 12 through verse 16. Chapter 16 and verse 12 through verse 16.
Verse 12. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath.
12.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in 12 as well. I'm sorry.
That's all right, Steve. You'll catch up after a while.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying.
That's all right.
Verse Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 through 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the waters thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Elohim Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
Why? Because of their unrighteousness. The Catholic Church, I don't know whether y'all heard it the other day, I think it was the day before yesterday. The Catholic Church just issued a statement that the church should embrace science or it might become fundamentalism. Now check that out. The church should embrace science. Once America, amidst liberty, the stronghold Protestant blind justice is destroyed by Asia, once St. Peter's Basilica and Islam is destroyed by the revised Holy Roman Empire, Yahweh's holy people, the children of Israel, will have their lives for a prey, and 2/3 of our people will be killed by Lucifer's children. Jeremiah chapter 16, in verse 9 through verse 21.
You know, Elder, I can see why they got it, why Satan is moving this thing, and it's got to be galvanized. Because I was watching CNN here about 2 months ago, and there's very little interest in religion over in Europe.
Man, folks don't care about religion.
The attendance in those churches on Sunday, they say they have hardly any people in those churches.
Well, you know, America just a little different. See, folks, they got folks over here trying to buy salvation. And they going to get that money, brother. They going to get that money. They're going to tell as many lies as any kind of lie they have to do to get that money. Just like that boy Creflo Dollar said, God don't want you if you're poor. It's a sin to be poor. Christ was a rich man. He built subdivision. I ain't seen no subdivision built in that land over there. But anyways, we know that the brother was so poor he didn't. They had to borrow a grave to put him in when he died.
See where they sold the former, what they call that boy wear the dress, what's the name? The Pope, not the, yeah, the Pope, yeah. Pope Paul the second, John Paul the second. They sold an old car here, 65 for $600,000.
That's because their God rode around in it, brother. See? That's because their God rode around in it. You got to understand who the Pope is on this earth. The Pope say that he's a direct successor of St. Peter. But he's a Gentile, right? From what Paul said, the one that went to teach him, he told him Israel was given the covenants, the promise, the service, the giving of the law. All of the holy things was given to the nation had to come through Israel. It's all through the prophets that the nation's going to grab onto the coattail of a Jew, right, and so forth and so on. But these people don't care, man. They have got their God, and they love to worship men. That's why it's going to be easy for them to worship a man, because they hold his flesh in such high estate. Back during the Roman Empire, didn't them folks think Caesar was God? Okay. Okay. Of course. Of course, brother, trying to protect their interests. Yeah, that's all it is, brother. Jeremiah chapter 16, in verse 9 through verse 21.
Verse 9. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, behold, I will cause to cease out of this place in your eyes and in your days the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride. And it shall come to pass, when you shall show this people all these words, and they shall say unto you, why have Yahweh pronounced all this great evil against us? Or what is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we have committed against Yahweh, our Elohim?
You see what went on? The folks didn't even know what sins they had committed. You know why? They worshiped the gods of the nation. All the gods around them, our people worship. They worship Yahweh. They worship Baal. They worship Easter, Ashtaroth. They worship everything that they want to around them, and still went into the temple and called on Yahweh. As a matter of fact, when you get back and read the prophet Ezekiel, some ain't go in the temple. Dig into that wall and look what you see. And there was 12 of the princes of Israel standing around with their backs to the altar, worshiping the sun with all kind of creeping things up on the wall. You know why? They didn't follow what the priest told them.
Had women weeping for Tammuz.
Right. Adonis, yeah. Apollos, whichever one you want to call them. Yeah, brother. That's what the whole deal was. See, the same thing happened when you get back into right after King Solomon's died. Ephraim came down and talked to Rehoboam, and told him, say, look, man, you take some of this pressure off us, you know, all these taxes and everything, and we'll serve you. So he went and asked the elders, Solomon's counselors. Now understand, now Solomon was the richest, was the wisest man that ever lived, so he didn't have no dummies around him, right? He went and asked the counselors, and the counselors told him, say, man, if you be good to these people will serve you forever. But what did he do? He went and asked his friends, his peers, didn't know nothing. See? These brothers sitting up here talking about the events of the world and so forth that's going to take place, and here these knuckleheads out here around there chasing women and trying to get rich. You see? And what happened? He went and asked them young folks. And you see what happened? It caused a division, and it caused the house to divide, didn't it? Yeah. This is why the scripture tells us youth is wasted on the young. But go ahead and read, my brother.
Verse 11.
You know why youth is wasted on the young? They haven't lived enough to experience a lot of things. Experience is the world's best teacher. See, this is why in any congregation you're going to get a whole lot of things to go on. You know why? For the experience sake. Not of just the priest, but all of the priests in the place, and all of the prophetesses there. You know why? They have to grow in grace, and they only grow through this experience. You ain't gonna don't think you're gonna grow just because you read a lot of words. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yirmiyahu.
Ladies that's my age and this group of ladies that's younger. And one of the younger ladies said, we don't want to sit in here with those old ladies. Let's go sit somewhere else. I said, come and sit among the knowledge. I said, we're not old ladies here. We're knowledge. Come and sit among the knowledge and learn something.
They don't want that
And
knowledge.
no, she was like, oh, well, I never thought of it like that.
They don't want that knowledge. They do this, it's like going to school.
Yeah.
Here's a brother go to college, and then it's his first year in college, right? And he want to know more than the teacher.
Oh, he knows more than people.
Yeah.
He's like,
And he end up getting kicked out of school. Right. Right. It's the same thing happen all over there, sweetheart. That's why that's why when Yahweh got ready to marry Israel, when he got ready to redeem our people, what did he tell them? Go gather the elders of Israel. But some people believe, especially Jehovah's Witness, they believe that the eldership is office. They got 16-year-old boys walking around with tags on them calling themselves elder. Don't know their butt from a hole in the ground. You see? Don't know one end of the book from the other. They don't know the back of the book from the front of the book, but they walk around and they calling them elders.
I got a son-in-law that's a Muslim. Sometimes he's tried to come to me. I tell him, I say, you know, I want to live with you at peace as much as possible. So, you know, the knowledge that you are trying to show me, I say, you know, I thank you, but please, I said, let's not discuss this. I said, because you don't want to challenge me on this. I said, because we won't be at peace. Because the things that I have to say about that, you won't like it. So the best thing for us to do is to speak and to be, you know, peaceful to each other.
That's why when me and brothers have problems in the word, stop talking to them. You know why? The scripture tell you, the servants of God must not strive. See, it's who got the control. Okay. God, see, people fail to understand one thing. The kingdom of heaven is not just wishy-washy.
Right.
You got a God in the third heaven. You got a God in the second heaven. You got a God that's going to rule here on the earth. He's going to have 144,000 that's going to follow him. David is going to be the prince. All the tribes of Israel is going to have their entourage of princes. The apostles are going to be judges, right? And the rest of the people will be a kingdom of priests here on the earth. Yahweh is setting up a governmental system, and niggas don't want to deal with the system. See, they want to deal with things the way that they want to deal with it. But what they fail to understand is this, my sister. When the one spirit sent, and you don't pack up the spirit in your book bag and take it out of here when you left. It's still here. Chapter 16, in verse, ain't that where I told you to go?
Yes, sir.
Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu chapter 16, in verse 12 through verse 16, brother.
Yes, sir. We started verse 9, I'm at verse 11 now.
Oh, you was at Jeremiah 16, verse 9. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 11.
Yeah.
Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, says Yahweh, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law, and you have done worse than your fathers, for behold, you walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto
They
me.
walk everyone after the imagination of his evil heart, right? That's why you got so many different churches scattered around town. Every man got a song, and every man got a dance. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 13. Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that you know not, neither you nor your fathers, and there shall you serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, Yahweh lives, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh lives, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Behold, I will send for many fishers, says Yahweh, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks.
Why out of the mountains and hills and holes of the rocks? Because when this pressure start coming down on our people all over the earth, we're going to have to get out of these cities. Ain't no doubt about it. And these Gentiles trying to show us that right now. Ain't they reclaiming this city?
Definitely.
Okay. Go ahead, brother.
Walking all up and down the streets. Brother,
Right.
we're walking in some places that I wouldn't even go to.
Right,
You know where
man.
I've been at.
In the right neighborhood.
Dixie Hill, Center,
Right.
all over them
Right.
areas.
Brother, I was up in Center Hill the other day. And I look, and here come this white girl with two little daughters and a boy, and they walking their dogs, man. It was 3 o'clock in the morning in my neighborhood. Yet and still, folks say, well, we scared of them niggas. No, y'all ain't scared of us. Y'all walk all among us like y'all with all that pride, because y'all know one thing. Boy, let me tell you something. When a woman screams, somebody's going to the rescue. And you can believe that.
I mean, we still got that mentality. We know better. I mean, I don't care how low life we are, brother. With that exception that happened down at courthouse, we know better not to attack those white people.
We love
White
everybody,
female,
brother.
we know better than lead
That's
them
not
on.
in us, man. Our young folk is the one to get off in all that garbage, man. I done got too old to run from anybody. What I look like walking around at my age trying to knock somebody in the head and take something. That don't even make sense. You know, but see, all that come with age. Because when I was a young man, you talk to me wrong, Jack. I find me an alley apple and bust you in your head with it, man. Yeah.
They coming back at the suburbs too, though.
Of course.
Because right down there where I used to stay at, when I first moved in, it was about 4 white people on the street, all of them gone. None of that done moved out. 2 families done moved in right up the street.
Sure. They're going to take all of this we living out here is Klan territory. The Gentiles plan on taking all of this back and moving us further on out in the countryside. That's what they plan on doing.
All the guys were on the street vendor.
Of course. Of course.
You know, when we watch television, it's just really a reflection of reality, what life is really is, you know. And I don't care how well known a black star may be. There's 2 things you can count on when you watch television. 1, the black folks gonna get killed, and 2, they gonna save that white woman. They will walk over. They will cross over a lake of alligator to save her.
Of course. Of course, brother.
I get so disturbed at that.
Of course. But you know what that's all about, brother. Everybody look out for its own. We the only people that don't look out for our own, brother. We too busy fussing with each other.
Being entertained, that's what we like.
Yeah, I know.
Beyond that entertainment.
Go ahead and finish up, Steve.
Yirmiyahu, chapter 16, verse 17. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. And first, I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double. Because they have defiled my land, they have filled mine inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Euro-Gentiles shall come unto you from the ends of the earth and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods?
Right. Who is this Jesus they done made? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 21. Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know mine hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahweh.
Okay, let's see what else is said about this, brother. Psalms chapter 67 and verse 1 through verse 7. Psalms chapter 67 and verse 1 through verse 7.
Verse 1. Elohim be merciful unto us and bless us, and cause his face to shine upon us, that your way may be known upon earth, your saving health among all nations.
This is the only reason it's going to be, it can be done. The only way it can be done is through the house of Israel. See? Like this old white woman told me in public one day. She came up and said, "Ain't you out there, that old man be on TV?" And she all bent over. She called me an old man. I said, I look at her. I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "We wait for y'all to do what y'all got to do." See? Go ahead and read. Everybody know but Jake. See, Jake want to be somebody. Jake don't want to be told nothing. Jake don't want to do this. But Jake could go to his job and do exactly what them Gentiles tell him to do. You know why? They give him that cash, that filthy lucre. But when it come down to the house of the Lord, folks ain't gonna do that. No, I ain't gonna. I don't even want. I can't have no man over me. Go back in the scripture and show me any group of people that attained salvation didn't have a man over. Why you think Yahweh raised up judges? Then he gave us kings, right? And they always had the priests there, right? Then came the Messiah, right? And then came the apostles, right? Weren't they over everything?
They were men.
I think they were. Go ahead and read, Steve.
Verse 3. Let the people praise thee, O Yahweh. Let all the people praise thee. Oh, let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for you shall judge the people righteously and govern the nations upon earth.
Praise Yah.
Let the people praise thee, O Yahweh. Let all the people praise thee. Then shall the earth yield her increase, and Yahweh, even our own Elohim, shall bless us. Yahweh shall bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear him.
Okay, my brother, in verse 5 it said, let the people praise you, Elohim. Let all the people praise you. Then shall the earth yield her increase. But it's only going to yield her increase once Israel has taught the nation how to walk humbly and justly before Yahweh Elohim and to serve him in truth and in righteousness. That's the only way the nation is going to be saved. Lucifer's goal, you finished that, right? 6 or 7 years.
Yes, sir.
Lucifer's goal is to attempt at making Yahweh's holy word alive by destroying Yahweh's houses and the Jews of who we are. You remember when we just read that they've taken counsel against your hidden ones? Okay. We can separate, integrate, or duplicate. But it's going down right before our eyes and among us. Many people talk about a God, but man puts his trust in wealth and his ability to function or even profit in natural things. But regardless to how we plan or order our lives, we have no power to become what we want to be in societies. Everybody wants to be comfortable, are not denied the things that they desire. But these are the very things that totally consume us in our quest for life. The fact is, man is limited to either worship and service, either the service, rather, of the Almighty Elohim of Israel, or to serve Lucifer through his children. There ain't but two ways you can go. You're right or you're wrong. You're either serving Yahweh or you're serving God. Ain't no middle of the post, and ain't no I thought. What I thought can get you killed. So be exceedingly glad and wise in Yahweh's word, you children of Israel, because we are approaching the end of our sojourn in captivity to Lucifer's children all over the earth. Question is, do we fight for our lives and Yahweh's future for us and mankind, or do we just wait for a natural and spiritual death to overtake us? Do we just lay down and die? Yahweh has already spoken for us and to us. So now you choose your own destiny. We know what he said, but it's one thing that Yahweh gave man. He gave him the ability to choose. So you choose whether you want to serve him in the way that he decreed that it be done, or whether you want to do it according to your own wicked imagination. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Psalms chapter 98 and verse 1 through chapter 102 and verse 28. Psalms chapter 98 and 1 through 102 and verse 28. There's a lot of things that's written in the Psalms. So don't look over the book of Psalms because it seems like a whole lot of prayers and you get tired of reading all that stuff. Don't look over it because it's hidden in these pages. There's a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, especially when you compare these things with the things that has taken place and with the things that were said by the preacher and in Proverbs and in Ecclesiastes. And don't leave Job out of that either. Psalm chapter 98 verse 1 through chapter 102 and verse 28. These are the people that show us wisdom and knowledge and understanding as to why we have to serve the Creator or be destroyed. It ain't no doubt about it. It is no doubt about it. Yahweh created man for one purpose, to give him eternal life. And by the power of God, every soul that was ever created on this earth is going to have eternal life, either in that kingdom or in that lake of fire. You choose. Psalm chapter 98 verse 1 through chapter 102 and verse 28.
O sing unto Yahweh a new song, for he hath done marvelous things. His right hand and his holy arm have gotten him the victory. Yahweh hath made known his salvation. His righteousness have he openly showed in the sight of the heathen. He hath remembered his mercy and his truth toward the house of Yisrael. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our Elohim. Make a joyful noise unto Yahweh, all the earth. Make a loud noise and rejoice and sing praise. Sing unto Yahweh with the harp and the voice of a song. With trumpets and sound of cornets, make a joyful noise before Yahweh, the King. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Let the floods clap their hands, let the hills be joyful together before Yahweh. For he comes to judge the earth. With righteousness shall he judge the world and the people with equity.
Praise Yah. I'm glad he's going to be judge instead of man. Go ahead, brother.
Psalms 99 verse 1. Yahweh reigneth, let the people tremble. He sitteth between the cherubims, let the earth be moved. Yahweh is great in Yehudah, and he is high above all the people. Let them praise your great and terrible name, for it is holy. The king's strength also loves judgment. You do establish equity. You execute judgment and righteousness in Jacob. Exalt you, Yahweh our Elohim, and worship at his footstool, for he is holy. Moshe and Aaron among his priests, and Samuel among them that call upon his name, they call upon Yahweh, and he answered them. He spake unto them in the cloudy pillar. They kept his testimonies and the ordinance that he gave them. You answered them, O Yahweh our Elohim. You were an Elohim that forgave them, though you took vengeance of their inventions. Exalt Yahweh our Elohim, and worship at his holy hill, for Yahweh our Elohim is holy.
Praise Yah.
Make a joyful noise unto Yahweh, all you lands. Serve Yahweh with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know you that Yahweh, he is Elohim. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into Yahweh's gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto Yahweh, and bless his name. For Yahweh is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endures to all generations.
Praise Yah.
I will sing of mercy and judgment. Unto you, O Yahweh, will I sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. Oh, when will you come unto me? I will walk within my heart with a perfect heart. I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A forward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Whoso privily slanders his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that have a high look and a proud heart will I not suffer. Mine eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that walks in a perfect way, he shall serve
Praise
me.
Yah.
He that works deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that tells lies shall not tarry in my sight. I will early destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all wicked doers from the city of Yahweh. Hear my prayer, O Yahweh, and let my cry come unto you. Hide not your face from me in the day when I am in trouble. Incline your ear unto me. In the day when I call, answer me speedily. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as in hurt. My heart is smitten and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. By reason of the voice of my groaning, my bones cleave to my skin. I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I am like an owl of the desert. I watch and am as a sparrow along upon the housetop. Mine enemies reproach me all the day, and they that are mad against me are sworn against me. For I have eaten ashes like bread, and mingled my drink with weeping because of your indignation and your wrath. For you have lifted me up and cast me down.
Regardless to what man did to you, it's Yahweh that lifts you up and casts you down, right? Man isn't trying you. It's the God of Israel that's trying you to see if you're going to be faithful. Go ahead and read, my brother.
Verse 11. My days are like a shadow that declines, and I am withered like grass. But thou, O Yahweh, shall endure forever, and thy remembrance unto all generations.
Praise Yah.
You shall arise and have mercy upon Yehudah. For the time to favor her, yea, the set time is come. For your servants take pleasure in her stones, and favor the dust thereof. So the heathen shall fear the name of Yahweh, and all the kings of the earth your glory. When Yahweh shall build up Zion, he shall appear in his glory. He will regard the prayer of the destitute and not despise their prayer.
Praise Yah.
This shall be written for the people to come, for the generation to come, and the people which shall be created shall praise Yahweh. For he hath looked down from the height of his sanctuary. From heaven did Yahweh behold the earth, to hear the groaning of the prisoner, to loose those that are appointed unto death, to declare the name of Yahweh in Yehudah, and his praise in Jerusalem, when the people gather together, and the kingdoms to serve Yahweh. He weakened my strength in the way, he shortened my days. I said, O my Adonai, take me not away in the midst of my days. Your years are throughout all generations. Of old have you laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They shall perish, but you shall endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old as a garment, wax old like a garment. As a vesture shall you change them, and they shall be changed. But you are the same, and thy years shall have no end. The children of your servants shall continue, and their seed shall be established before you.
Amen. So it's been said, so let it be written. Even so, come Lord Yeshua, and save us all out of all our troubles. That's all I've got to do today. May Yahweh have mercy upon us all.
Hallelujah.